Thanks for staying with us. How well do you know your partner's family health history? Or how well do you know their history going back, to their genealogy and maybe even their reputations? Well, on relationships today, we have Aremo Olalekan Oluwatobi. He's a certified relationship and marriage coach and mentor who is passionate about God, love, relationships, and marriages, especially life transformation. And this morning, we will be talking about family health history, reputations, and relationships. You're welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
Yes. This conversation is, it's very, very, but let's just get right into it,
Okay.
right? What are what sort of questions should one ask at the point of getting into a serious relationship or at the point of courtship in regards to their family history, in reputation and health-wise?
Okay. So I think the easiest one probably be health-wise.
Okay.
Because whether your partner, if your person is trying to lie to you, you can, most of it you can verify medically. Okay, so it's always best to ask first for the spouse, are there particular illnesses that you experience from time to time? Okay, or have you had a particular kind of illness before? Is there any major illness that you have had? Okay, and then is there a major illness that you've seen happen consistently in your family? Okay, because if it has been consistent with the family, say the father had it, an uncle had it, the grandfather had it, there's a tendency that is a genetic thing, and there's a tendency that by the time you guys have children, there's a possibility that that way, yes, and that knowledge would arm you with different things. Okay, which is one of the key things is the knowledge of how to either avoid or handle. Okay, so that is one peculiar thing. Or one very important thing. Ask the question of what particular illnesses do you experience as a personally, and then what have you found that is consistent with your family. Okay, in that regards. And then for reputation. Okay, so usually people always want to paint their families in a good light. Okay, I think that for many people that maybe grew up in the cities, unfortunately, many people are not even aware, okay, of, say, particular reputation. But let's say a family, for example, is known, okay, outcast, say in some part of Nigeria, for example, and it's not even Nigeria actually, okay, and this person knows, okay, and then say spouse A is about to marry spouse B. Spouse B's family do not marry outcasts, but spouse A is an outcast. Now, if that information is not shared, what would happen is that they would get emotionally connected so much that by the time it's now probably wedding day, a family member now jumps another family member, and then everything
is exposed.
Yes. Family, and then there's trouble. And then the other person is wondering, how come you never told me? I never heard of this before, and all that. So now, family reputation can play out even in different ways. Say, for example, a family that is known for stealing. Okay, something that's seemingly basic as that. Okay, for
that's
stealing.
Passed on from one generation.
And then yes, there's that consistent thing, but they know those people, please just hide your things from them. And maybe somehow you jam this person. Maybe this person has even changed, maybe, or somehow was untouched by the old experience. It's very important still that you communicate this to your partner that, oh, my family has this reputation, because it will not be nice if that spouse now hears this from
someone else,
a stranger, some random person, and say, you're married to a family of thieves. And you tear shirt, you fight the person, you never say that. And then my person says, come on, it is true. And then you go back to find that person says it is true, and you're feeling very stupid and all that. So it's always important that these things are communicated.
And so here, I mean, back in the day, I know our grandfathers and even our parents, well, some of us would do investigations at the point of, you go and check this family, go to that family. So it's either we are going to our imams or we are going to our pastors, to help us pray and, reveal what is hidden. Right. Is that advisable in this regard? And what sort of, other than, the religious, mode of investigation, what other investigations can one do in a case where your intended spouse is not communicating to you?
Okay.
Because there's so much we can know about or so much or so little we
Yeah.
can know about our partners, or we
Yes.
know about our partners, even as we are in a marriage situation.
Yeah, true. So if your partner is not communicating, it's a red flag. You should run.
And how would you know
Okay.
that it's not?
Yeah. So it's about that. If you're armed with the right questions to ask. Now, if they lied to you, it's a different thing. It's a different case because then they lied and you don't know.
Okay.
But if you're asking questions and they're always gaslighting you, they're always shifting the conversations, then you know that
Those
they
are
are,
signs.
yes, those are signs that they don't want to have that
Okay.
conversation. And that's a sign that you don't want to be in that relationship. You don't want to move ahead
Okay.
until that conversations
Is
are had. But if the person lied, for example, and that's a possibility, human beings, okay, a person can lie. How do you find out? Beyond religious things, okay, unfortunately, the way the world has become very industrialized and all, the sense of community that used to be back in the days
It's not that.
is not there anymore.
Yeah.
Okay, back in the days, if a grandfather can know a particular, just by the name, that's why most times parents will
Yeah.
ask, what's your name? What state are you from? Where in that state? What's the family name? The moment they have those information, they already have a sense of this is the kind of family this person is from. But all that is many people,
It's waning.
yes,
Yeah.
many people grow up in the urban areas, and some of them don't even have an idea of
their background,
of these
where
things.
they come from.
But I think basic things that are important. You want to check that person in particular. Okay, say for example, have you ever been in fraud before? Okay, have you ever been the cause of a fraud or in a fraudulent situation before
yeah.
that maybe you're implicated or something? That information might look like I'm exposing myself, but your partner needs to know about things like that. Okay, so those ones you can't claim not to know. You may not know what your grandfather did, what your father did, and all that, and the implications of that, but you can
At
find
least.
out the one that is staring you right in the face.
Yeah, so quickly, we need to wrap this up. Now, in a situation where you have been lied to and you have crossed
Yeah,
into
not
the
married.
marriage, right? And then, so for example, there's an history of madness, right? Let's go deep into this conversation because it needs to be had. There's a history of madness, maybe passed on from grandfather to grandfather, and then there's a possibility that your child
Might have it. Yeah.
What do you do as a spouse in that sort of situation?
At that moment, is you find damage control. At that point, the important thing right now is the child, the children. Okay, so you need to go and carry out medical checks to know that, to check are they prone to these things, and if they are prone, how can we deal with it? Okay, because the line has happened already. You can't change the line. Trust has been broken. There has to be work to be done to restore that. But more importantly now is, how do I ensure that none of these children have this? Okay, and then medically, if you check, let them go through a check medically, and even not even madness. Okay, it can be, say, things, maybe some other diseases there. Okay, let them check.
Some form of disorders.
Yes, that kind of thing. Let there be a medical check. If they are prone to it, they can give you what can we do to avoid this thing blowing out full or something. And then when you can do that, then you can now come and deal with your partner one-on-one. What if it's spiritual? Then you take it spiritual. Speak to your imam, speak to your pastor. Because they are actually spiritual issues.
Exactly.
Okay,
exactly.
so if it's a spiritual thing, then it's important that if you're a spiritual person, then you should deal with it spiritually as well.
All right. Thank you so much, Aremo. This has been a very insightful conversation because it's a look into conversations that are not being had between partners even before they get into, this lifelong, institution called marriage. But thank you so much, Aremo. And that's a wrap on the relationship segment right now.